So my mother always used to say, it is just as easy to fall in love with a rich man as a poor one. And I did not really believe her because I was a beautiful artist and I wanted to date and fall in love with other beautiful artists. And so I spent 15 years married to a beautiful artist, theater director / adjunct faculty member. And before I got divorced, I dated a beautiful artist, hammered dulcimer player at the Renaissance Festival. And after I got divorced, I dated a South African performance artist. And something was not quite right, and I didn't really know what it was until I got to Johannesburg and realized that I had spent $15,000 on plane tickets and poor business decisions. And that night in the house, his older brother said, and at this point I understood enough Afrikaans to get it, his older brother said, okay, 2 women maybe, but 2 men, you can't tell me that's right. And suddenly I understood why I was there. It was a long flight back to Michigan. And I took stock and I realized, okay, I am single, I am 40, I am newly medicated for depression, I have my credit cards under control, and I am tired of broke, beautiful artists. I would like to date someone who has their financial shit together. And I knew that I was going to be performing in the Middle East at a low-rent theme park in another couple of months. And so I went ahead and I changed my OkCupid profile to say that I lived in Dubai, and I began pre-screening guys. Because you can look people's salaries up on Glassdoor. And when you're a woman on a social dating site, you don't need to send messages. Messages come to you. And so guys would message me, and I would delete anything that was really poorly spelled or contained a picture of a penis. I mean, guys, we know what they look like. They all look like turkey waddles, okay? Just... Yes, if you're lucky. And the tube of toothpaste for scale was completely unnecessary. I only messaged one guy, and he did not even actually have a photograph. He had a cartoon as his profile picture, but his profile was very clever and entirely correctly spelled. And I had not yet seen the cartoon Archer, and so I did not realize that his real name was not Conway Stern. So I messaged him, he messaged me, we hit it off, we talked. He said he was a software consultant. I looked up the company on Glassdoor. I'll talk to you, dude. We went to email. We had a really nice phone call. It turned out he was British. He had a very nice voice. And then we had a Skype call, and behind him, the wall of his house was like white and bare, and there was like no furniture, and like he had this weird bobbing thing going on in the video. And so 5 days later, when I got to Dubai, I did not bother to call him. And I dated Emirates pilot #1, who took me out on his motorcycle and drove in that way that guys who drive motorcycles and think that they can scare you by taking the turns a little too fast. And I was like, dude, I am a professional circus performer. I have literally been on fire voluntarily. There is nothing you can do with your motorcycle that is gonna freak me out. I dated another Emirates pilot. He was nice enough. I figured, okay, I'll give it one more date, see if I like this guy. And then the guy who was not Conway Stern texted me and he said, hey, I think you must be here by now. Would you like to go to brunch? Why don't you bring your performing partner? And I thought, you know what? Everybody deserves a chance. Everybody deserves at least one coffee. It's casual, it's brunch, I'll go to brunch. In Dubai, brunch is a thing. And it's a thing because it happens on Friday morning when all of the locals are at the mosque and all of the expats go to brunch because brunch includes unlimited alcohol. And you're sitting here in the Middle East, and oh, look, there goes a pineapple with a straw in it. Oh, look, there's the Jack Daniel's Slurpee machine. Oh, look, there goes a watermelon with 13 straws in it. And it actually was a really nice time because there were 3 of us there having a nice conversation between 3 people instead of 2 people deciding if they wanted to have sex. At the end, he paid for brunch, which was $100 a person. And he picked up the tab for all of us, which I thought was very classy. And so the next night, we went out. And in Dubai, they have this thing where they have these like boats that go up and down the river that are sort of traditional looking boats. And on them, there is a buffet and a lot of tourists. And he thought, maybe we will go on the boat. And I thought, no, I really do not want to sit on a buffet boat with a lot of tourists. And we couldn't find a restaurant. So we walked through sort of old town Dubai, which is basically windows with gold in them. And we walked for about 3.5 hours, just talking and talking. And when we got to the corner of the street and were ready to cross the road, he held my hand back to look and see if it was safe. And that's when I knew. Before I left Dubai, he had already bought me a ticket to come back. And he had taken me for dinner at a super fancy restaurant that I totally did not have clothes for, and he bought me a dress and shoes and underwear to go to the restaurant in. It was kind of a hooker dress, but the thought counted. When I flew back, he said, oh, hey, for New Year's, why don't we go back to that restaurant? And he showed me the menu to make sure that I would like it. And the menu was airplane ticket expensive. And I thought, okay, I'm kind of digging this like financial security thing, but that's too far even for me. And I said, let's do something less structured. And he said, oh, I was hoping you would say that. I got us tickets to go to Nepal. And once you have traveled through a developing nation with another human being, and they have seen you puke because you were stupid and ate the momos from the street corner, and you knew they were using real water in that bucket, but you had already committed to eating the momos and didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And once you have seen your travel partner break down because he just cannot stand it that the rickshaw driver is lying about knowing where our hotel is, and there are no lights, and we are nowhere, and nobody knows where the hotel is. And once you get to your New Year's Eve hotel, and it is a tree house with a beautiful view of Mount Everest and no glass in the windows, you kind of know. Reader, I married him. Thank you.